Hello and welcome to Dire Consequences, and I'm Claire Dyer here on Unprecedented TV, the freedom of speech hub where truth, transparency and accountability matter more than spin. Across the country and around the world, more and more people are speaking out about the harm caused by pharmaceutical drugs they were told were safe, drugs meant to treat, to heal, but that for some have caused life-altering and irreversible damage. One of those drugs is Epilim, also known as Valium valproate, an epilepsy medication that's been on the market for decades. And for thousands of women who took it while pregnant, it has left a legacy of unimaginable pain. Last time we spoke with Karen, she shared her heartbreaking story, a story of trust placed in medical advice and the devastating consequences that followed. Her daughter, Bridget, was born with severe disabilities, the result of exposure to sodium valproate in the womb, and she is not alone. In this follow-up, I returned to Karen to hear how life has unfolded since she first broke her silence and since I last spoke to her. We'll look at the growing movement demanding justice, what has or hasn't changed, and what it's really like to live with the aftermath of a preventable tragedy. Because this isn't just about one drug. It's about a system that's failed to warn, failed to listen, and continues to fail families today. So I'd like to welcome to the show today, Karen.
Hi, Claire.
Hi, how are you?
A bit stressed, to be quite honest with you, but I'm getting through it day to day.
Well, I can imagine every day is pretty much the same for you since your daughter was born. And how old is she again?
She's 27 now, coming up for 28 in March.
So you've lived through this for 28 years.
I have, yeah.
Do you just want to quickly refresh for people that may have not seen the first time you came on, just a bit about your story?
Well, basically, I took sodium valproate since the age of 12 due to a condition which I was struck down with due to trauma. And obviously, I did not know that a drug that I was taking would affect a fetus. And when I fell pregnant with my third child, I was being very violently sick. So violently sick that, yes, I must admit, it was causing me a bit of distress. And a neurologist doctor from King's College Hospital told me that I had to increase my medication. So me, like any other mother, we listen to our doctors because obviously they know what's best in our eyes. So I listened to them, and they were guiding me, and I took an increase of medication. Increased medication, which I took in the morning and at night, thinking that this medication will make sure that I don't take a seizure, that it wouldn't harm my unborn baby, and that I would be okay, my baby would be okay. And I did stress that to the doctors, that everything will be okay. They reassured me, you'll be fine. If you didn't take this medication and you took a seizure, you will kill your baby. So when you're hearing these words that you're going to kill your baby because you're being violently sick and you have a seizure, then you take that on board in such a way that, like, I don't want to do harm to my baby if I took a seizure. So the best thing I should do is to listen to them. They know what's best, and I'll have my tablets increase.
They're in a position of trust, and obviously as doctors you trust what they tell you.
Most definitely.
Like most people do. So tell me a little bit about Bridget's condition as a result of you obviously taking Epilim, sodium valproate.
Well, when I was 6 months pregnant, that's when I got the very traumatic news that the baby that I was carrying, I didn't even know I was having a little girl, but I was told at 6 months pregnant that I was carrying a spina bifida hypercephalus, and hypercephalus is water on the brain for many that don't know that, and that my daughter is basically brain dead and that she is paralysed and she won't be able to do no functioning whatsoever. So you could imagine. And then they told me that the alternative was to basically having an abortion at 6 months.
Which, of course, you didn't do.
No, because I believe that with technology, when I saw a different doctor in Queen Charlotte, when he explained to me what this condition was, because I never knew. I was a very young mum at the time, and I didn't believe in abortions, and I could feel her moving around inside me. So I couldn't even believe what they were saying to me neither, because I could feel her moving around inside me. And I felt that the doctors must have this wrong because she was moving around inside me. So I went forward and said, maybe with the technology that we have in our world, you know, and technology is always improving, that maybe they could help her.
Yeah. So what's happened since? Tell me a little bit about your day-to-day life with Bridget.
Well, with what's going on in the world with all the doctor surgeries and these new systems that they're bringing out with, like, when you phone up, you can't get through to the doctor surgeries and things like that. It's proving very difficult to even get a doctor these days.
And obviously, this is Bridget on the screen, isn't it? How old is she here?
I do believe that she was in her 20s there. So probably about 22 there. Something like that, yeah.
So tell me a little bit about her condition, you know, and, you know, just how disabled she is, you know, like the lack of quality of life that she has.
When Bridget was born, she was told that she wouldn't live past 9 years old. Her brain is basically not with it. She's got a brain of a 3-year-old, even though she's the age she is. She can't talk. She's non-verbal. She can hear, and she can make eye contact with you. She's got deformity of her eyelids, so that means that she can't close her eyes. She sleeps with her eyes open, so I have to put eye drops in every day to keep her eyes from drying out. She also has reflux. She has problems with her digestive system. All her organs are all squashed underneath her rib cage. She has, obviously, she's incontinent. She has bowel disease. She's paralysed. She's got no feeling from waist down. So she can't go to the toilet herself. I have to catheterise her every 3 hours. I have to clear her bowels out manually. I have to feed her.
And you are a full-time carer, aren't you?
I am, yeah. She has scoliosis as well.
Yeah, and you get very little help as well from the system.
I only started getting help for my daughter about 4 years after I had cancer.
Wow.
Because I got struck down with breast cancer due to my medication. And I, yeah.
The epilepsy medication also gave you. Wow.
Yeah. Okay. Because epilin, it changed my genetic gene. So it messed about with that. So it kind of, you know, and a lot of mothers who are on this medication also have received cancer. some bowel cancer, some breast cancer. I got grade 3 cancer, nearly grade 4 cancer, and I had to be all reconstructed, and that my breast taken away. I've got another breast there now, but it's part of my backside, basically, in my stomach, because my body won't have an implant. So, but in the process of having all that done, I now suffer with lymphedema, and I also suffer with fibromyalgia.
So, and until that point, you weren't entitled to any help or care with Bridget?
No.
That's shocking.
I
So,
went through, I had to have the hospital bandage me up like a mummy so I can get back to care for Bridget.
so not only did they know what this drug did, and you have been campaigning and fighting for this for what, how many years now?
Oh God, well, we was in the courts in the year 2006.
So since
straight after that, because we was in the courts for about 4 or 5 years, and then 3 weeks before the court date, we got told legal aid was dropped.
Yeah.
So it's been since then.
So not only have they known about this drug for a very long time, and you have been campaigning and fighting about this drug, on top of that, not only has it obviously severely disabled your child, obviously as a result, you have become so severely unwell, and you haven't even warranted care from the government, from the system, which is just absolutely shocking. Tell me a little bit about your campaign. So obviously you created On the Road to Justice.
I did. I created Road to Justice purely because my daughter was fighting for her life in hospital when she was 19 years old. So because I was part of another organisation, I was part of Oaks Charity, which was going back in the court date. But then because I nearly lost my daughter through the doctors overdosing her with medication, I then opened a page because I felt, even though there's organisations to fight this to get compensation and redress, I thought nobody actually talks to the mothers.
No.
And I was one that wanted to talk and find out how other mothers were feeling. And I wanted to share more information
and I guess
my journey.
Yeah, and I guess like how you felt initially, there were so many other mothers out there that had no one to turn to and no support and didn't know what to do. Yeah. So you ended up taking this to Parliament, haven't you? Explain a bit about that, because I know that you have just recently been in Parliament again, haven't you? So tell me a bit about that.
Well, when I kept hearing all people's stories, I felt the need to take it further. Yeah. So I got people to write a bit about their journey and their medication, and to put about their children in it. And at the same time, I done also a petition where we reached over 1,000 signatures. I then took it down and done a demo with a good few people. And we took that into Parliament. Not Parliament, I rewrote that. We took it down to 10 Downing Street. We put that in, and then they said that they misplaced it. So misplaced it. So then, because I'm a safeguarding officer, I then took it upon myself to take this further, because then if they misplaced that was mothers' stories, and that was people's signatures. So then, to me, that was quite a serious breach, you see. So I then took that further and wrote a letter. And I wrote a letter to my MP as well. And I said, this is breaking GDPR. That's people's stories that I trusted for you to take accountability for that if you've lost it, you see. So there was a debate then in Parliament that I went forward in and I was part of. So then when we went there, I gave all my MP the information about this petition and the mother stories, and if he can bring it up in the debate where they were talking about mesh and sodium valproate. So then he brought that up in the debate as well. So then it got recognised. A few weeks after that debate, I then got a letter from the Baroness Merron saying that they found the letters and they found the petition, excuse me, and that they've recognised it, they've looked at it, and thank you for going to all this trouble for bringing this to our attention. So they're looking into it and they will take note of what's gone on and that they've looked at all these stories. So
So what's happened as a result of that? Because I believe they've acknowledged it, haven't they?
They have acknowledged it and that they're looking into it and that they will bring all this to all the other bodies that in Parliament, because it's not just the Baroness Merron that has to look at all this, it's the other governments that sit down in the sector of Parliament, the health minister and everybody. There's probably about 7 or 8 of them, or maybe a couple more, maybe about 10, I'm not sure, but there's a good few of them that have to sit down and go all through this to the way forward of what we're going to get.
What I don't understand is once they recognise something like this and they know, why do they make it so difficult? Why do they make you fight tooth and nail for years? Shouldn't it just be a simple case of, yes, we know this drug has done this, we're sorry, and then we will offer compensation, we will offer care, to actually make up in some way for what they've done. But yet this drug is still licensed, it's still being prescribed to mothers, to women, but obviously women when they're pregnant, and all they're talking about, I believe, is just lowering the dosage rather than taking it off the market altogether or saying you cannot take this whilst pregnant. They're allowing thousands of women across the country to unknowingly take this when they're pregnant, knowing the damage it can do.
Yeah. This is it. It's all about money, isn't it? You see, they know this drug is dangerous. It goes way back into the 60s when they've had this drug. I've even got more damning evidence, which I can't pursue at the moment. I would like now, because it's taken so long, to bring all, to the forefront, and they're dragging their heels. Like, everybody wants a non-finance redress, and we want a redress. They don't seem to be pushing forward on it too much. I was at the QE2 opposite Parliament last week, where I pretty much addressed what I felt was wrong with the system, because
I'm going to stop you there because we are going to take a break and we'll pick that up, what happened in Parliament just recently. For everyone, we're talking to Karen Buck and about the incredible job she's doing to support her daughter and to try and get that message out there for everybody. We're going to take a quick look at another controversial programme here on Unprecedented TV, which is Free Speech Central, and we'll be right back. welcome back. And that was Free Speech Central with Lembet Opik and Joe Marnie. So another show that's on Unprecedented TV. And I'm talking to Karen. So Karen, tell me about what happened when you were last in Parliament.
Right. Well, basically, it was for the Henrietta 3 years of her being and what she's accomplished. Now, don't get me wrong. I appreciate all the hard work she's done. And I'm not here to put anybody down on doing anything. I appreciate all the hard work everybody's put into this. But when you've been in a situation like what I've been in, and I've got a very severely sick little girl, you know, who was in that week, basically, more or less, she's not been eating because her face is swelled right out and she's got an infection in her face through where she's taken a seizure and broken a tooth, and then her face has come out very, very swollen. Her lip is very swollen, and I've had no help from the GP. So I'm trying to get access to a GP to help me, to have a look, to tell me whether or not she needs an emergency service at the hospital or whether they can give me some antibiotics for her face. Now, I'm here trying my best, and I've not had a wheelchair or nothing. Don't get me wrong, I've got a wheelchair now because I phoned them up, and I've not had no help from government neither. I had to turn around and say to the wheelchair service place as well, I need a wheelchair sorted out ASAP, because if my daughter is going to get sepsis, because with an abscess you can get sepsis, if something's gone on in her mouth, and I can't get a GP to come out and look at her mouth, and she's got an abscess here due to this broken tooth, and no doctor will come out, they were reluctant to give me antibiotics as well, you see, because of the way the GP services is going on, even though they know my daughter is bedbound and I've been struggling to get a wheelchair for 8 years. I've had to ring the wheelchair service now and threaten them basically, and turn around and say, if you don't provide me with a wheelchair and sort this wheelchair out, and anything happens to my daughter and she ends up dying, I'm going to sue your asses. Excuse my French. But within 2 days, they've turned up at my door to sort me out a wheelchair. Now, for 8 years, I've been waiting, and it's taken them 2 days to sort out a wheelchair, all because I've turned around and said about my daughter's face.
Right.
Now, and then I've had to mention this when we've gone down to the QE2 at Parliament, when they're celebrating 3 years of being in this patient commission, PSC, impact of the patient commission. Now, fair play to putting it all together and for helping us get the redress, but when you're not seeing things working, and you're not getting the help that you're supposed to be getting, and the pilot is up in Manchester, and they're doing the research up in Manchester, and it's only up there, and they're just talking about, oh, the label is on the medicine box and it's covering that sign. It's very frustrating.
We're just gonna show the video. Was it Bob Blackman speaking in Parliament?
It was, yes. That's my MP, yeah.
Who's got that video? We'll just play that video of Bob Blackman in Parliament, please.
One of my constituents, Karen Buck, who's in the audience today, is a mother of 4 children, all of whom have been affected as a result of her taking sodium valproate during pregnancy. Her daughter, Bridget, was born with severe brain damage, spina bifida, and a condition which is directly linked to this drug and has affected others. Sadly, Bridget's case is one of many others across the country. Karen has dedicated her life to serving Bridget and looking after her, but she should never have been prescribed the drug in the first place. And in November the 13th, Karen and the other campaigners put over 1,000 signatures to a petition at Downing Street. I would ask the Minister to follow up on that petition, because so far the petitioners have not received an answer, and they deserve an answer at least. They have been asking for compensation. They've been asking for removal of this drug from the market. They've been campaigning for years for a redress scheme, and I'm proud to support them. It's not just about financial restitution, it's all about accountability, and the drug companies, in particular Sanofi, who push this drug. I understand they're withdrawing the high-strength drug in September of this year, but the rest of the drugs will still continue to be available. It's all about ensuring they get the support and assistance they need.
So you were saying that the one thing that they did do was to put labelling on the packaging with warnings. But what you believe you were telling me was that when the pharmacy obviously prescribed them, they're putting the patient details labels over this warning.
Yes.
And whilst, you know, I was thinking about this, and whilst you said that, okay, they've done that, but they seem to be making a big deal about it. And you were saying how the pharmacists, they're busy. And do you know what? That's where another part where the system fails, from the top to the very bottom. So you were saying, you know, as we all know, a pharmacist, they actually act as a pharmacy. They are now expected to treat minor ailments. So they have to give consultations. And they're also a shop. And they essentially, because they sell things, and they have to dispense medication. So they are under pressure. And I couldn't help but think to myself, a little bit of a conspiracy, but isn't that convenient? You've had to push so hard to get this far just for them to put the warning on the label for people to read. Yet the patient's details are then being covered over the top of it. That doesn't make any sense to me.
It doesn't, does it?
No. And I know that's not the biggest issue, because obviously your fight is so huge. But it just seemed to me that one thing that you fought for, which is just standard really, it should have been on there anyway. And yet now it is. And now the stickers that they put on, they're putting on over that warning.
Mm.
So it served no purpose. It's just crazy. It feels that you're just fighting constantly.
Yeah. And this is the thing. We are fighting constantly. And the sad thing about it is what was said in that meeting is the fact that, like, and no disrespect to the lady, she's done a tremendous amount of work. But the thing that I couldn't get over is that she was telling us that if parents are seeing that their drugs have got their name label over the label of the woman, the pregnant woman with the lining, that they're to send that picture in, so then they can bring that to the government, for the government then to issue these warnings. Now, this all takes time and money. Time and money, which we haven't got, our children haven't got. And that time and money can be spent in giving us compensation or doing the non-finance redress, like, you know, organising suitable accommodation, or, you know, doing like educational stuff, you know, or putting like, you know, more clinics around. Which is just common sense. Exactly. Like, why can't you, rather than do a silly box and them labels and spending all that effort into, you know, these medicine boxes, when we've already done that name, we've already put that label there. Does it matter about these little stickers of our name and address being slammed on it, because the pharmaceuticals are so ram-packed with, you know, people and busy doing their shop and busy dispensing it and busy talking to patients, because the doctors are so lazy in doing what they're doing because they want to turn everything digified. That, like, you know,
The system is
Now,
flawed from the top to the very bottom. We do have another video, and it's the interview that you did with the media outside, I believe, when you demanded for a public inquiry. So if the studio's got that, and if they could put that up, please, so we could see it.
National inquiry had been mentioned, compensation was mentioned, education. I mean, what is the key thing for you?
Deborah, I really think there needs to be a public inquiry. This isn't just about children that have been harmed. This is a red flag for the regulatory system in the UK. And yes, the MHRA are trying to step up, but to be honest, they have done very little, considering the depth of the issues involved.
Okay.
Listening to what Deborah said there, and I just think, you know what, the amount of drugs that have had warnings. I mean, I've got a list here, you know, we've got Primados, the pill, which severe defects and miscarriage, thalidomide in the 50s and 60s, you know, that was for morning sickness and the severe birth defects that were there. And obviously that was supposed to be the change in drug regulation and testing globally. And yet we've just heard Deborah say that she wants drug, you know, testing and regulations. Well, this was back in the 50s and 60s. You've got Vioxx, painkillers for arthritis that caused heart attacks and strokes, and allegations that the manufacturer Merck withheld data. That did actually get withdrawn, but that took years. Venpen, which is a weight loss drug, and obviously now we have Ozempic, and that was linked to heart valve damage, pulmonary hypertension. I mean, that did get withdrawn in the end with large-scale lawsuits. The list goes on. Paxil, antidepressants, SSRI, the SSRI and antidepressants. How many times has that been in the news? How many times do we have here about the dangers of this, the risk of suicide in young people, birth defects, everything's birth defects, OxyContin, pain relief, addiction to death, pharmaceutical corruption there, and overprescription. The vaccine for swine flu, narcolepsy, children and young adults were, it ended up being restricted. HPV, which was supposed to prevent cancer, neurological symptoms, chronic fatigue, lawsuits were filed there. Talcum powder. I mean, people have been talking about Johnson & Johnson's talcum powder for years. And, you know, that's caused ovarian cancer and asbestos contamination. They're facing tens of thousands of pounds of lawsuits with billions already in settlements. There's Essure, permanent birth control implant, again, chronic pain, perforated organs, autoimmune reactions. That ended up being removed in 2018 with 39,000 lawsuits. Then you have the transvaginal mesh, for pelvic organ prolapse.
but that's what I've got inside me.
Yeah,
I've got mesh inside me as well.
And we so many of us reading these out, so many people are going to go, yeah, I know about that. Yes, I've heard about that. So that was a global recall on that. Payouts was billions. Accutane, you know, that's for acne, birth defects, depression, suicide. That's still being prescribed now, even though they have paid out in lawsuits. Ranitidine. How many people know about ranitidine for heartburn? I remember my 23-year-old son was prescribed that as a 2-month-old baby. Contains NDMA, so probable human carcinogen. It did end up being withdrawn, but only in 2020, and there's class action lawsuits against that. And then if we move on, we have the COVID vaccine. So the list for that is endless. Fast track approval, indemnity for manufacturers, and you know, myocarditis, heart attacks, blood clots, autoimmune conditions, rheumatoid arthritis. The list is endless. And as I said, we go back to thalidomide. They promised that they would make changes, that there would be tighter drug regulations and testing globally. And yet here you are, Karen. Like,
Well, this is it. They're
still fighting when they know.
They're not. And the thing is, they're not telling anybody. They don't want to tell anybody. It's all about money. This is the thing. It's all about money. They're not telling anybody. The drug sodium valproate is in mental, like depressant tablets, you know, and they're handing that out like smarties, you see. And look what they've done to Primados as well. They've just pushed them aside. They're not even looking into that. They've just moved them to one side, which is absolutely a disgrace, because Primados is just very much like us.
Yeah. And I would say it all comes down to the same thing, that they know most people are going to put trust in them, especially if you go to your doctor and you get prescribed something because you're unwell and you're vulnerable, you can't think logically. You know, when you're in a hospital, you trust, you have no choice in a way but to put trust, unless you have an advocate that will speak on your behalf. And, you know, but unfortunately for so many people, you know, you end up researching for yourself and not having trust. But that's once you've already been affected and you're now paying the price for that. They're not paying the price. You know, the pharmaceutical industries are not paying the price. Bridget's paying the price for her entire life. That's how your daughter has to live day in, day out.
Yeah.
And as hard as that is, these people, the people in power, the government, they should be ashamed of themselves. They should be ashamed of themselves, because this has been going on for decades. This drug, all the drugs that I've listed, and there's more. There's so much more that's been swept under the carpet that they pass off as, oh, there's no evidence. Well, there is. The research is there. You're just covering it up and censoring it, because the pharmaceutical industry is one of the biggest money-making industries in the world. And as they say, they don't make money out of healthy people. And once they get you on a drug, you are a customer for life. And it's an absolute disgrace. And, you know, I would hope, if they are even listening, that they should sort themselves out. Seriously, sort themselves out. And they should pay out at least compensation and give you the care, and the care that your daughter has so desperately needed for 27 years of her life, and whatever life she has left, and every single other mother. They should not make people fight for this. They should not make you fight for this. It is absolutely disgraceful. It really is. And your fight's still not over.
No, it's not, and it won't be, because at the end of the day, they're basically killing her. You see, that's the way I see it. They're basically killing her.
I mean, you shouldn't even have to fight, you know, to get a doctor to come out to your daughter who's bedbound because she's broken a tooth during a seizure. And as you said, you know, she ended up with an abscess that can lead to sepsis. I had my son in hospital just recently for 3 weeks with bursitis of the knee, so just swelling of the knee, and it went to sepsis. You know, and he was in hospital for 3 weeks, and he's fit and healthy. You know,
I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting to get her into hospital to have this broken tooth taken out of her mouth.
And what, because of wait times?
Yeah.
They're destroying, you know, you feel like it is a conspiracy, because you just can't believe for 1 second that there would be that lack of care.
Yeah. As it is, I've saved the government billions through caring, through catheterising her, through giving her physio, through clearing her bowels out, through, you know, doing all the stuff that I have to do for her, you see.
And I remember you said last time as well that they wouldn't even supply you with surgical gloves.
No, that's another thing. Since I spoke to you last, I still am fighting for the gloves. They've denied me. I've received her catheters, but the past 2 parcels for getting her catheters to catheterize her so she can go away, I still haven't received my parcel for my gloves.
Honestly, I'm actually speechless. I really am, because, as I said, you know, they know about this drug. They know what it's done. And not only are you still fighting in Parliament for yourself and for everyone and for the children, you can't even get the care you need. You can't get the gloves, you can't get the wheelchair, you can't get your daughter a doctor's appointment when she needs it. it makes you think like what is happening to humanity. It really does. So
It's quite frightening, really, when you think about it, because
yeah, you don't want to,
I'm just one mother.
yeah,
I'm just one mother with a
with
child
one,
like this.
and
You
one,
know, I say child, she's a young adult now. I've managed to get her to 27. I don't know how long I will have her, because last night she had a very bad seizure where I was giving her oxygen and emergency med at 2 o'clock in the morning. And that's to keep her alive, you see. So I'm faced with things like that.
and
Now,
you've not been well yourself either, have you?
I collapsed through all the stress, you see. So I didn't have a seizure. I just collapsed through being worn out.
Yeah.
So, which, you know, it is tiring, because I do be up through the night as well. And it's very worrying when her mouth is very swollen and the GP won't come out. And it took from 8:30 until 5 o'clock before they gave me antibiotics for her face. So it's bad.
Yeah, I have a diabetic daughter who's not very well controlled, and it worries me. And that is nothing compared to what you have to live with. I have that fear with her, but I can't even imagine the fear that you must go through probably every second of the day, worrying about her and losing her, and the number of times that you have almost lost her. Honestly.
Yeah, it is. It's frightening when I hear her, and then I'm running into her room and I'm giving her that oxygen. It's like my heart, and I'm palpitating and everything. I have anxiety and, you know, panic attacks now. I do, and I'm like, I sing to her, you know, to try and get her out the seizure and everything, you know. So it is frightening, you know.
As I said, I can't actually imagine to that level. I really couldn't, and that being my reality. But with the campaign, where do you think it's going to go from here, moving forward? Do you think that you, at some stage, will have success?
I do believe we will get something. When it'll come, I don't know. But me personally, I want a judge-led inquiry, because I think the redress situation, they're just dragging their heels too much. So me personally, I want a judge-led inquiry, and I would like all the mothers to get behind me to push forward for a judge-led inquiry. So I would like all the mothers to contact their MP, you know, to get their MPs pushing for a judge-led inquiry as well.
I guess that's something I can do, actually. I can contact my MP.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's all we've got time for.
Thank you very much, Claire.
Thank you for coming back on, Karen. And
anytime.
And you are welcome anytime. And I really hope that you get what you deserve, all of you. And
I really appreciate that.
Sort themselves out and do the right thing for everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. As we've heard today, Karen's story is not an isolated case. It's one of thousands, mothers and families caught in the long shadow of a drug that was once claimed to be safe and effective. But time and time again, we see a disturbing pattern. Treatments rushed to market or widely prescribed, hailed as breakthroughs, only for the truth to emerge years later or even decades later. And when the damage is done, it's the victims who are left to pick up the pieces. They face not only the daily reality of caring for those affected, but also the uphill battle to be acknowledged, to be believed, and to be compensated. Meanwhile, pharmaceutical companies shielded by legal indemnities, as we saw with COVID-19 vaccines, continue to operate with limited accountability. And so we're left asking, where is the balance between innovation and precaution? Who protects the public when the system fails? And why is it that those harmed must fight so hard just to be heard? The story of sodium valproate is a warning, not just about one drug, but about a culture that too often puts profit, speed, and silence before safety, transparency, and truth. For those affected, the journey doesn't end when the headlines fade. Their fight continues. Karen's fight continues, and Bridget's fight for her life continues. And for justice, for reform, and for a future when no one else is left in the dark. I'm Claire Dyer. This is Dire Consequences, and you're watching Unprecedented TV. And please tune in, where we will have more hard-hitting stories every week. Thank you.